I appreciate being here today and having the opportunity to speak about Youth Exchange. It's one of my passions, and it also gives our local clubs the opportunity to be involved in one of Rotary's main focuses, promoting peace and understanding throughout the world, and being involved on that on a local level. I work on this with my co-chair for the district, Susan Chan, who does a much better job with it than I do, but she wasn't able to be here today. I hope she's watching. I'd like to encourage all of the clubs in the district to be involved with Youth Exchange and to support Youth Exchange by encouraging the students in their area to be involved by sending students and also by receiving students into their club. We've got some wonderful students, a current Youth Exchange student, a short-term exchange student that we've sent from Jonesboro, and some students that we've hosted in the past, just to let everybody get a feel for the students that we've had. And so I'd like to introduce some of those today. Ethtan Lehman is a student that is currently in Thailand. I don't see anything that would show that he's in Thailand right now, so I could say he's in Antarctica, but we'll take his word that he's in Thailand right now. But we sent him this year, and I believe he'll be coming back shortly in just a few weeks. But he's currently in Thailand. He left from Little Rock, and he'll be coming back shortly. And he's a fantastic young man, and he's going to receive I believe, a governor's distinguished scholarship, and going to be attending Fayetteville this fall. But I'll let Ethtan introduce himself.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Vince. All right. Hello, everybody. As you said, my name is Ethtan Lehman. And although I don't have a flag in the back to display it, I am a Rotary Youth Exchange student in Thailand. So to talk a little bit about my exchange, I chose Thailand because I have hosted Thai exchange students in the past. My grandparents hosted them, so I was always very familiar with Thai people and a little bit of Thai culture, even since I was very, very young. And my mother actually used to live in Bangkok for a couple years. Her father was in the military, so Thailand was always in the back of my head as a place to travel. And once I heard about Youth Exchange with Rotary, I decided to seize the opportunity, and here I am. So I moved here in August 5th, I believe, and I will be going home in a week. On July 5th, I leave Thailand. The exchange experience has been absolutely fantastic. I have been able to work very closely with my Rotary Club in Thailand, connect with people from all over my city in Thailand, and work with schools for the kids with special needs, and volunteer very closely with physicians at the hospital. I'm a prospective physician myself, and that's been a very wonderful opportunity to be able to connect with those people through connections that my Rotary Club has. So that's wonderful. I've traveled to some more remote villages and taught about hygiene and administered volunteered and helped administer various different medications to people that may not have access to those things. So that has been a wonderful experience. That's just some of the things I've done over here in Thailand, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
And I assume some of those experiences, Ethtan, are not experiences that you would have been able to have in Little Rock. And I'm glad that you were able to have those experiences there. The next student that we have is no longer a student. He was an exchange student into our district from Brazil. He came to District 6150 from Brazil in 2010, 2011. Felipe Piebelli, he was sponsored by the Rotary Club of Wynne and lived here for a year. He has very good English. He's living in Brazil now. I believe he's a flight attendant in Brazil, and is going to tell us about his exchange. He was talking earlier, they were telling him they needed more light on his face because everyone wanted to see him. And I said he didn't hear that very often. Oh, and look, the light just
again.
So,
well,
Felipe.
Hello, my name is Felipe. I'm from Brazil. I'm 27 years old. I was a former inbound from Brazil. It's been 10 years actually. Well, it's been a while. Well, I'm from a very, very, very small town in Brazil, around like 12,000 people. And the opportunity of being an exchange student in America changed my life literally forever. It was so good for me because I could get out of my comfort zone. I could get to see another culture and all different stuff. And the more important part, I think, it's just you don't get to know the culture of the country you're going to. You actually meet so many people from all over the world, and you literally became a global citizen. After I came back to Brazil, I entered college. I graduated as a mechanical engineering. And since I spoke very good English at the time, not anymore, sorry, I got a scholarship from the Brazilian government, and I had the opportunity to live in England for a year. And being an exchange student before was super easy, super easy. Just going there and adapt to a new place and a new culture. I could literally go anywhere, and it was an amazing opportunity. I had very, very, very good support from Rotary, from Vince. I lived with Vince at that time, and it just made me feel like home. I was home the whole time. That part of being like homesick away from home didn't hit me very much because I got all the support I needed from Rotary, and it changed my life forever. Like there's no Felipe before the exchange anymore. It's just after that, a totally different person in a good way, though.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that your exchange had a positive influence on your life. And we appreciate having you. And so the next student that we're going to hear from is Jose. Jose Antonio Souza Dias. He was an exchange student from Brazil as well. He looks much older now with a beard. One of the things that you couldn't tell from looking at Jose is that he is a budding singer, and he knows the lyrics to every song that was ever published. Maybe he'll do a song for us while he's on for us. But Jose, tell us something about your exchange.
Well, I went to exchange in the US in 2013, 2014, and I learned a lot of good things in the US, and some things that I use even today. Like when I got to America, I wanted to be in med school and I wanted to be a heart doctor. Now I'm graduating law school, and I believe that living with Vince had played a really important role in that changing subject. And he said that I know all the lyrics, but I'm not sure all of them. Mainly the 80s, I guess. And I really like the exchange student, being an exchange student, because I had some really good opportunities that I didn't have back here. And in my family, it was a very common thing because we had received ex-students before. And even after I came back, my brother went in the year of 2017, 2018, went on an exchange to the city of Waterloo in Illinois, in the US. So here in my house, it's a very important thing for all of us, the Rotary Youth Exchange program.
Well, Jose, I got to meet your brother as well, but I don't know that I want to take credit for you being a lawyer. I'm not sure many folks watching are going to say it's an improvement for you going from being a doctor to a lawyer. But I think that anything that you want to be is a good thing in the future. The next student that we have is Autumn Holland. She is, I believe, a senior in high school in Jonesboro. What?
Just graduated, so yes.
Just graduated. Time gets away from me. Autumn just graduated high school in Jonesboro. And not only do I make matches for students to go on exchange, I make matches for students to have dates to proms and I think Autumn and Ethan went to prom together because I matched them up some way. I kind of embarrass folks, and I'll stop embarrassing, but Autumn.
Oh man.
Oh, look at that. They put everybody on the screen.
Wow.
Sam does that, and he didn't even
Thank
know
you,
I was going to say that.
Who's ever
Oh.
moderating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Autumn went to Italy, and she went on a short-term exchange, and so that's different than the year-long exchange. But with the short-term exchange, the students get to spend 4 to 6 weeks in another country, and then the student that you stayed with came back to America and stayed with you, which is a different experience. It's family to family. And I even met her when I was at an old person's concert that you like old people music and heard Goo Goo Dolls and Trains. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your experience.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I hosted, so with the short term, you also host and you're hosted. So I was hosted in Italy, and I got to host who would be my host sister here. So when we ran into Vince at the concert, I actually had Benny with me, and we took her to that concert. She thought it was really fun. So, but we like old people music. But it was super, super amazing having Benny here. We got to show her like what our life was like. She was here for the 4th of July, which was the most American day of the year, which was super fun for her to be able to experience, for us to show her. And then I went to Italy. I was there for about a month. So a lot different than what the long-term exchange students are used to. But it was super amazing because I lived with, so my host family was 4 siblings, 4 sisters, and I have 3 sisters here. So I was used to like the kind of chaos, and it was just like my family away from home. And it was super, super amazing to get to experience their life there. We traveled around for a little bit. They lived in Milan, but I got to experience, they had like family homes up in the mountains and by the coast. So I got to experience both of those 3 different ways of life while in Italy, and that was super amazing. I wasn't able to become fluent in Italian while I was there, but I wasn't there long enough to become fluent in that. But I did learn the basics, and it was super cool to see how easy it was to pick up on the language after you were there for just a few weeks. Though I couldn't speak it very well, I did understand quite a bit more than I was expecting to. And it was super, super cool to get to see like the way that their family interacted with each other and the way that we interacted with Benny while she was here. But it was a super amazing experience, and it definitely changed like the way that I saw the world in many ways, and it made me become much more independent in everything that I did. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I'm super, super happy that I was able to do it. I wish that anybody could be able to have this experience that wants it. And I'm super glad that Rotary was able to let me do this.
So was the best part of your exchange, your actual exchange, or going to prom with Ethan?
Definitely the exchange.
Oh, okay, I won't ask anymore.
While we had fun in both places, it was, yeah. But I'm
All
super
right.
thankful for the community that we've created through Rotary, and I love it.
All right. And I'm not sure if there is one more person. Do we have any more? Oh, there we are. And so I think we're going to have Hatton Weeks come on. I think we've got the best program in all of Rotary with Youth Exchange, and I will let Hatton take over.
Thank you, Vince. And unlike Vince, I'd like to start with Ethan, and I'm not going to bring up the fact that you were able to land a date with Autumn to prom. I'm not going to bring it up. And
Much appreciated.
And I start with you, Ethan, because you have the most interesting experience right now, maybe of anybody. You are overseas, have been overseas since August, and started in the quarantine. The pandemic started while you were overseas. Tell us what that experience is like for you overseas in Thailand.
Absolutely. So in Thailand, we didn't actually get hit with a large number of COVID cases. We were the first country outside of China that was infected, but it was a very slow trickle, and Thailand does a very good job as a country to contain the virus, and a lot of people wear masks, so it wasn't as frightening from a safety perspective. However, it did affect the quality of life for sure, like of my exchange. Not to say that, staying at home with my family all day is bad, but I wasn't able to go out, right? So It was different, but on the bright side of things, I was able to get a lot closer with my host family, and I think that was like such a benefit of being at home the whole time. You know, we would share every meal together, of course, and my host sisters teach me Thai. It was very good. I'm a lot closer with my host family because of the pandemic, because I was not able to go anywhere, and now it's actually clearing up quite a bit. From a number standpoint, it is clearing up and things are opening up. So I'm able to go out, and my host family has taken me to multiple different places. And just the fact that I was able to build that relationship, it really means a lot to me. Despite the bad circumstances everywhere else, to build that relationship was absolutely wonderful.
That's great to hear. And Ethan, I think in many homes and communities across the United States, I think we're seeing the same thing as families are forced together. We reconnect, if you will, because we were quarantined and forced to. Next question here is for Felipe, and you grew up in a small town. You said of 12,000 people in Brazil, which across the 6150 district footprint is actually a pretty large town. But you spent a year in Wynne.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the similarities from your hometown in Brazil to the city of Wynne here in Arkansas.
Well, I think the only thing that's actually similar is that everyone knows each other, because the rest is totally different. A small town in Brazil, you don't have many stuff to do. Although people Wynne said they didn't have many stuff to do, but they have like great restaurants. They had like a great supermarket, but in Brazil it's totally different. So for me, like when I saw that I was going to a small town, I was like, oh my God, again. But it was completely different from what I expected. Actually, much, much better than I expected. It was completely different.
Next question here is for Jose. You were here in 2013, 2014, and while you were here, you arrived wanting to be a doctor, and you left wanting to go to law school. What was that spark of change for you?
I don't know. I guess that live in a different way that I used to live here made me had another view of the world that I didn't have before, and I learned different things. That when I arrived back here, that was time to go to college. That was the thing that I wanted to do, and then I started law school in 2015, and I graduate this year if everything ends up well.
Well, and we know it will, So next question here for Autumn, and again, I'm not going to bring up the fact that you went to prom with Ethan. Just curious, your time in Italy. What was the biggest? What was the most interesting thing that you saw, that you realized while you were overseas in Italy?
Okay, let me think real quick. Oh, one day it was like my host sisters all had tutoring, and my other host sister had to babysit. So everyone was out of the house, and my host mom was just home doing laundry. And she's like, if you'd like to go out to visit the city, just go ahead. And I was like, all right. So she gave me written directions to the Milan Cathedral. And I just wandered through the city until I found the cathedral. And it was amazing. Like, I got a little lost on the way there with the written directions, but it was super fun to kind of just get lost in the city where I didn't know half the language. I didn't know hardly anything, but it was really, really amazing to get to just stumble upon the cathedral. And that was so cool.
Let me back up here and ask a couple of questions for either Jose or Felipe, because you're overseas now, and it's a similar question to what I asked Ethan earlier. How are you dealing with the coronavirus pandemic? What is it like where you're at, and are people wearing masks? Are things opening back up? And I'll ask that of either one of you.
Okay. Do you want to talk?
We'll go first. Well, in my city, we have to wear masks everywhere we go, but we are working as normal. I work every day, all day long, and there was no big changes in that side.
Well, to be kind of honest, like Brazil is a huge country, not as big as America, but it's very big too. and the virus hit different regions and different timings. So the place where I live right now, I'm from the same state as
Yes.
place I live right now at the top of the curve. No, it's just going down. But some other places in Brazil, the curve is going up, and there are a lot of new cases and deaths. But I actually stopped working for 2 months because I didn't have anything to do. I stopped, and I just got back this month. But I think it's most of the states here. They have like regulations to wear masks in public, and people are trying to take care. But
Wow.
that's it.
Let me bounce back to Autumn here for a moment. If there is someone who is considering participating either as a host or wanting to go overseas, what would be the biggest piece of advice you could give someone? What would be the one selling point you would tell them?
I say just do it. Like, there's a big part of me that's always like, just jump into like the unknown, which I think is always a great thing, you know, with safety, of course, but like with Rotary, there's really nothing really that could go that wrong. So just go for it.
And Ethan, I'll ask you, you're overseas now. What would be the one selling point you would tell a family looking to host or someone wanting to participate?
All right. A family wanting to host, I think the hosting experience is much more interesting for the parents. Absolutely. And being able to teach some of your own culture, things that maybe come naturally to you, something that you learned as a little kid, that maybe you've never had to teach another person. That's a very interesting experience when I've had an exchange student close to me. And something that I would tell somebody that wants to go on exchange is that there's absolutely nothing like it. You can't recreate the feelings that you get, whether it be like being lost somewhere or not knowing how to communicate very well. And you can go travel for a short period of time, but being on exchange and growing as much as you can as a person, that's absolutely one of a kind experience.
That's a great place to leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for participating. Thank you for either visiting or going overseas and spending your time. Amazing experience that you have that'll last a lifetime. And thank you, Vince Guest, for leading the best program in all of Rotary. So thank you to everybody. One of our panelists, Mathieu Kobielski from France, had a prior commitment today. He did, though, record a short video telling us about his exchange experience in District 6150 back in 2014, 2015, and how it's continued to affect his life and how the exchange program can positively affect your local club. Here's his story.
Bonjour, my name is Matt. I live in Besançon, France, where I study my master degrees for economics, management, and international businesses. 6 years ago, I was about to leave my friends and my family to go and live in Arkansas as an exchange student. At this time, I was 15 years old. I wasn't able to realize that this opportunity would have such an impact on me even a few years later. I knew that I would get some great benefits, short-term benefits, such as learning English, make friends, discover a new culture, thanks to the host families and the other exchange students. The biggest outcomes they came after my exchange, and that's the thing I didn't realize at this time, and it's really powerful. For example, the ability to learn and speak English enabled me to access so much content, videos, books, or whatever, and get internship, boost my resume. A few months after my return, I found a job, and I don't think I would have wanted to get a job at this time. My family and friends noticed a change. I would say I evolved. Before my exchange, I had no self-confidence, and now I'm able to speak to you on the camera, and I make some videos on YouTube, and now I know people from all over the world, and these connections are very valuable in the future for business or, for example, just even travel. Hosting student is a great experiment that I would recommend for anyone. You'll be impressed how much you can learn from an exchange student. And most of the time you make a great connection. It's a strong bond between the student and the family. I still keep in touch with my families, my host families. Okay, I don't want to take too much of your time. I just want to say firstly, thank you so much for hosting exchange student. You're just like some kind of heroes for us, really. I mean it. Being an exchange student initiated so much things in my life, good changes. And if it wasn't for the Rotarians, I'm 100% sure that I wouldn't be where I am today. So thank you to all of you. And secondly, if you have the opportunity to be an exchange student, to encourage your son or daughter to be one, or to even host an exchange student, I would say don't hesitate. Don't hesitate at all. It's a very valuable experiment for you, for everyone. It's a win-win game, I would call it. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today to speak with you, but I joined the French military reserve, and so we are preparing a mission, so sorry. And one more thing, because there is always good and bad and bad and good. The downside is that you don't know how to make bread, and that's a tragedy for you, and it was for me. I mean, I missed bread so much, but you have great donuts and pancakes and stuff, but look, here. So good. All right, I'm getting lost, but thanks for listening to me and have a great day. Bye.